expose of the situation in Poland, and I take it with me that in the next year's elections you are rather optimistic about the prospects for the center-left and leftist forces, and I certainly wish you all the best, and I'm very much looking forward to have this discussion a year later and hopefully to congratulate you on the right bet. Meanwhile, we're moving to another country that is having elections a bit earlier than Poland this year in September, Sweden, and it's a very interesting precedent and model of how the Social Democrats and Greens, for example, can work in one progressive coalition. And we're looking forward to listen from Johan Hassel, International Secretary of the Swedish Social Democratic Party, on how exactly it works, what are the challenges and achievements, and how do you see the prospects for the elections in September, please.
Thank you very much, and let me start by extending the greeting from the Prime Minister and party leader of the Social Democratic Party in Sweden, Stefan Löfven, and once again congratulating you and us for your membership with Inside of, and we sharing the same European Social Democratic family. As you said, we have been in government for the last 4 years, and we have also historically had a strong presence of social democratic governance in Sweden. Why is that? That is because we are a center-left party. We're a center-left party which is understanding that social investments, educating our youngsters, focusing on the educational systems, but also training people. When people lose one job, they have access to another skills training so they can take another job. Making sure that we have social justice in an improved healthcare systems, that you have pensions where you, after a long life, can have a decent income and you can also continue to live a prosperous life. And where you're making investments in people so that they are ready to lift the market. And that's the left perspective, making social investments, striving for social justice. But also the center perspective of being a government and a party which is supporting the industry, which is supporting the business sector, realizing the importance of fiscal responsibility, a functioning economy, and being pro-business in that sort of sense. So realizing that that is two coins. That is two sides of the same coin, of being a social democratic party which is very inclusive regarding that. If you're looking at our last mandate, we have made a lot of investments in the welfare system. We have also then focused on our international relations and launched our feminist foreign policy of making sure that we see the world as it is, which means that it's 50% women and 50% men, and that means an equal footing. And I think that perspective is very strong also when it comes to minority rights, that we have to understand that we are a government and a party for the whole of society. And that has consequences both nationally, locally, but also internationally. When you're coming then to Europe, and you are having elections a month after us, which means that we're in this fight together, and then again in June, we're going in for the European elections. What I think the problem in Europe is that it's understanding the centrist perspective of understanding the role of economies in making societies work. But it doesn't understand the social perspective of creating inclusive society, but also improving the economy. If we're looking around us, we see the increase of inequalities between countries, within inside of countries. And also economics are trying to understand now that a smart economical way that is making sure that people have a decent wage, decent living, and that everybody has jobs, so that they can spend and consume and to drive the economy. And what we have seen of austerity policy and of neoliberal policies, where you're trying to privatize everything and where the state doesn't have a stake at all with inside of the economy, and where you're then dismantling the welfare systems, that is creating an impossible solution, because it's only the financial system which can produce money, financial resources, and not the real economy. And that means that people isn't somehow left behind. And we as social democrats have for too long only been perceived as partly centrist and sort of lacked the leftist perspective. So we will have to enter this European election cycle of being credible in economical issues, supporting growth, but also being the parties that is standing for social justice and making the argument that that is the smart economical choice. Not only because it's right in the sense of human dignity, human rights, and that everybody deserves a job and that kind of dignity, but because it's the smart economical way. So I think that is what we have to see, and Europe has to take a responsibility for its neighborhood. We are today seeing a more insecure world, and we need to be a strong footing regarding that, being the one standing up for liberal democratic values, standing up for democracy, and being a constructive and a progressive actor within inside of the global community. And that is what social democracy should be affiliated with. And when I listen to Neil's speech and the reforms that you have put forward in Riga on the social reforms and how you are dealing with the business industry and so on, that very much reminds me of my social democracy in Sweden, which has been so successful and which I know will be so successful. So if you manage, and we manage together, to make Riga to Latvia, I'm sure that we will also manage to make our social democratic parties as governing Europe all together. So very much looking forward, and very much congratulations for your achievements and for our future history to go. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Jochen. That was really very inspiring presentation, especially the ideas on how to combine